The Radio Wammo Breakfast.
Issues of the day under T-Radar.
Under T-Radar is with us via live Skype video feed this morning for the first time. Hello, T-Radar.
Well, hello. It's like I've moved into the future, yet I'm so late into moving into the future that I'm still actually in the past.
Well, no, you're very now. I reckon you're very now. The future is now.
Yeah. Well, I've got quite lovely big retro headphones on. They make me comfortable.
Yeah. They're keeping that.
Yes.
They're keeping that hair under control.
They are. I haven't washed it today or anything like that. It gets a little bit sort of big at this time of the day. Yes. But no one's tagged me. That's good.
No, that is good. Well, who has been tagged?
Look, there's a goat. I don't know if anyone has been to New Plymouth or whether there's anyone in New Plymouth currently. There's a goat called Geordie who lives on the side of the road, quite an old bugger, and someone tagged him. Someone wrote FTP on him in orange spray paint, and the locals are very upset. Apparently they've had trouble with the youth in the past. People have been pelting houses with eggs and so on. Now normal kids hijinks.
This is a bit geeky, but FTP, as far as I know, stands for File Transfer Protocol.
Yes, well, maybe it was someone who maybe they wanted to transfer the file through the goat. Maybe it's like one of those, the coffee beans that you have to have a civet cat eat, and the civet cat eats the beans, they pass through, and they come out somehow changed in their structure, and they make the world's most expensive coffee. Perhaps they're doing something like that with the goat. Maybe the goat ate someone's dongle. It's passed through. They're hoping that somehow inside the intestine of the goat, it will morph into something more powerful. I don't know. Speculation. Yeah. Idle speculation. Yeah. Nonetheless, people not happy at all goat tagging.
Maybe John Key should have taken the goat to Washington.
He could have done. Quite vicious of the goat. Lunges at reporters. John Key, of course, lovely day for John Key today. He met with Joe Biden. Didn't get to meet Obama, but they've snuck him in to see Joe Biden, the sort of guy that they go, who is he? Well, I'll give him to Biden. Biden, wonderful. Biden had that wonderful thing a couple of weeks ago when they passed the health reform bill,
yes.
And he said, whispered to Barack Obama after the thing, he said, "This is an effing big deal." And that sort of got picked up, and people began to say, he's got a potty mouth. People like Stephen Baldwin, who's become quite a right-wing evangelical. As if he wasn't tedious enough in his movies. I saw him on a thing. He said, "Oh, he's got a potty mouth." But nonetheless, I don't know what are they talking about? Free trade, I think.
I think a bit of free trade, bit of nuclear stuff as well. I really like Biden, to be honest. By the way,
yeah.
I think he's cool.
Yeah, he does strike me as being sort of the sort of chap you'd like to go and have a bit of a sit down with. He seems a little bit irreverent.
Yeah.
Probably. It's interesting, isn't it, that sort of vice presidential thing? They never seem quite to have as much gravitas as the president.
Yeah. I noticed John isn't planning on talking about our nuclear-free legacy. He is going to be giving a nuclear speech because this whole thing is about nuclear terrorism, the potential for nuclear terrorism. But he's not going to specifically mention that we've been nuclear-free for so long. And I just wonder if he's got any kind of cringe about it or something.
Maybe he just doesn't want to remind them. Maybe they've forgotten. There could be this possibility that, over the years, this kind of thing has just slipped by. It's slipped under the sort of radar, so to speak, and they've gone, where are you again? That's right. I imagine, when was the last time we would have been brought up? I suspect it would have been when the Ploughshares people punctured the balloon over the radar. They would have thought, that's right, we've got that asset down there in the South Pacific. But yes, certainly talk of ships coming back into the harbours. That'll get all the protesters out. They'll be out there today. And a wonderful boost to the economy. American ships coming into the harbours. They have to go and buy kayaks. They need to buy wetsuits. All of the protesters.
Yes.
Getting out there, doing that thing.
Waving
flags.
I tell you what, though, we don't really need the Americans to come and protect us if we were invaded or anything. I reckon we could send Suzanne Prentice onto the beach.
We could. Look, this is gearing up to be one of the best political races of the year. Other than perhaps there's another one going to happen in the Wairarapa. I think Georgina Bayer rumoured to be running against. Suzanne Prentice running up against Tim Shadbolt. Tim Shadbolt, of course, I don't care where, so long as it's Mary's moved down to Invercargill, done wonderful things down there, but seems to be losing his lustre seems to have annoyed a few people. And Suzanne Prentice, everyone thinks, oh, what's she been doing other than singing? Apparently been a very good counsellor for a while.
Huh.
So she'll be. It's a sort of a battle of the personalities, and I suspect the focus of the country will be on this wonderful Southland battle. They do it well down there in Southland politics.
Yes, extraordinary sort of journey for her as well, from country singer to as you say, local body councillor, but also bodybuilder.
That's right. I forgot about that. Yes, bodybuilding. So if there's an arm wrestling competition between her and Shadbolt, or they have to get out and do anything, like shoveling coal or some kind of political stunt, she'll be in very good stead.
Or laying a concrete driveway. I think my money would be on Suzanne Prentice.
Yes, that's right. I don't think Shadbolt's laid a driveway for a while. He sort of spent a lot of time driving around in his car. But no, that'll be a fascinating one. And the great thing is, perhaps I don't know how she's going to campaign, but she could write some lovely ditties. Some Suzanne Prentice campaign anthems and get out there on the trail because, of course, Gore, country music capital, they're going to love her down there, I would suspect.
She was never, of course, lip syncing back in those days.
No, lip syncing. Well, I wouldn't think so. You remember the Beijing Olympics and they had that little girl and she lip synced because they chose the pretty girl as opposed to the girl who could sing at the opening ceremony.
Yep.
China, of course, rightly so. Lambasted about this. So they've got these new lip syncing laws and they're now cracking down on people, and they've gone and arrested and prosecuted a couple of singers for lip syncing, and they said there was no signal coming from their microphone during the performance, so therefore they can't have been singing. So they must have, I don't know, police type folk who go around and monitor microphone signals.
Yeah,
Just
sort of karaoke police.
That's exactly right. If only there were karaoke police, but I imagine that would mean that many of us would never be able to sing karaoke, unless what they did, the karaoke police, in order to make it fair to those of us who can't actually sing, was that anyone who was a very good singer wasn't allowed to sing karaoke.
Yeah, I think that would fit. Yeah.
Yes,
were you well impressed by the young Taiwanese chap?
Yes, I was. I saw this the other day. He's called the New Susan Boyle, and he was singing a Whitney Houston song, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I Will Always Love You.
Yeah.
And just sort of the classic young, nerdish kid, the black bowl cut hair, slightly chubby, wonderful voice that you think, well, that's not going to last. And there he is, he's been propelled to international stardom. He certainly wasn't lip syncing. If anyone can bear listening to a Whitney Houston song, check him out on the internet. Absolutely fantastic.
Now, what's this about Wellington's? Are they still getting their knickers in a twist about some sign that they want to put up?
Well, it strikes me that Wellington is doing their utmost to spend ratepayers' money to try to convince people that they aren't the bureaucratic arse of the country, that all of our tax money isn't just sucked down into this vortex and spent willy-nilly. And the way they're trying to do this is to promote Wellington as this wonderful film capital of the country, that it is indeed the Wellywood of the Pacific. The Wellywood sign wasn't met with a lot of, it wasn't met with raised hands and an alleluia when it was mooted. And so they've got other ideas. A good one, I thought, was they were going to have the Wellywood sign. They could probably do it with the Wellington sign, but it was hinged so that depending on how strong the wind blows, that's how much of the sign sort of appears. So if there's a gale, the whole sign is blown over.
Yeah.
If there's only a gentle breeze, maybe the N is flapping backwards and forwards in the wind.
I like that idea.
I thought that was a lovely sort of kinetic sculpture that celebrates everything that Wellington is. An enormous amounts of tax and ratepayers' money thrown willy-nilly at a vast project that doesn't really do much for anyone.
Yeah. Because that's Wellington. What about Christchurch? What's happening in Christchurch?
Party buses. Ever been on a party bus?
I can't say that I have. No. I've been on the Bacardi bus, which has a it's very soir. It's almost like you're in a nightclub, But I haven't been on one of those classic party buses where you go from pub to pub.
That's right. We're stuck on a bus with a whole lot of people who need to go to the toilet and throw up. And generally, so in Christchurch, apparently there's a lot of these party buses, and they drive around and round, and then they come into the middle of the city at the end of the sort of run and drop what they define as preloaded drunks off in town. The police are upset about this and looking to limit the number of party buses that there are in Christchurch. So if you are in Christchurch, go and party on the bus now.
I can see it being a potential issue because I remember that they used to go all around all the Canterbury rural pubs, Rolleston,
Right.
out to Amberley or wherever, from place to place, and then drop them in town. You can imagine the chaos.
Oh, you can. But a bloody good idea. But then how do people get home again? Do they stay in town? Is that why maybe that's why pubs need to stay open until sort of 6 a.m, and so that they have to wait for the actual normal bus transport to resume and people can get back on the bus and go home again.
Yeah.
No, I'll check it out. I'm in Christchurch this weekend. I'm going to stand around in the square and watch party buses disgorge their drunken hordes into the middle of town.
All right, well,
horrible.
We will see you, T-Radar, on the other side, so to speak.
We will. We'll speak again next week.
We will do. That is T-Radar. Check him out at radarswebsite.com as well. 25 minutes past